Thank you, Marcia, for bringing the word for us this morning. It was so good. As we continue on into our time together, I want us to bring our focus to the theme that we set for this conference, roots and branches. The RCA has really deep roots in mission around the world. You may know some of our places of historic mission engagement. We also are here to talk about and celebrate the branches, the place that we're growing. And one of the things that we wanted to do as we talk about our roots and our branches is connect the dots on those things for you, because our roots, they have a connection to our branches. They are growing things, and those things that are growing places and having impact. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hear from two of our missionaries, Chuck Van Engen and Angel Lopez. Chuck was a child in Chiapas with his parents who were missionaries there. And as an adult, he became a missiologist, and he and his wife, Jean, served in Chiapas for 12 years, and he continues to be involved in higher theological education in Latin America. And Angel Lopez is from Chiapas and currently serves as a missionary in the RCA, serving with an organization that his brother is running in Juarez, Mexico, where people are welcomed as they come towards the border of the United States to find shelter and refuge. They together are going to talk about how the work in Chiapas and the work in Juarez are connected and how those roots and branches come together. Chuck and Angel, I want to welcome you to the stage. We're so excited to hear what you have to share with us today.
Gracias.
Gracias. Thank you. Ukolo Shawulu. Salawal.
Okolawal.
Salawal, hermano.
Ahí.
Creo que tenemos que hablar en inglés.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have to speak English.
Yeah, we need to.
Oh,
we need
my.
To, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es Ángel. My name is Ángel Lopez. I was born in a place called Tecpatán, Chiapas, in Mexico. I grew up in Chiapas, but also in many places in Mexico. And with my love, we moved to Canada later on. And from Canada, we moved to Holland, Michigan, to be with the Dutch people there. Right now, I'm one of the pastors of Third Reformed Church / El Encuentro. And I'm also a missionary at the border, Frontera de Gracia, which means border of grace. And here's part of the story.
I was born in Mexico City, so the Mexicans call me a chilango. That means you were Mexico City born. And I grew up in San Cristobal de las Casas, in the state of Chiapas, across the state from where Angel was born. The San Cristobal de las Casas was actually chartered in 1516. It's one of the oldest towns in the Americas. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, 100 years before that, we had a university and a printing press in our city. So that's where I grew up there, left home, went to high school in North Carolina, and then Hope College, and married Jean, and she's put up with me for a long time. And we now live in Holland, Michigan. We were in California for quite a few years, for 27 years, and please pray for the people of Southern California, many of whom we know. So we live in Holland, Michigan, but in 2000, we were led to begin a special program of a PhD theological training for leaders throughout Latin America. And the RCA came alongside us, and so we're associate members, missionary personnel of the RCA. And so far we have over 50 graduates with PhDs from 17 countries and 30-some denominations. So it's been a great joy. And the RCA has been a key partner for us in the doctoral program. Now I better stay to my script, ¿verdad que sí?
Nos encanta
Si
hablar,
no,
así que tenemos
voy a
que-
hablar para siempre.
Yeah. We love
Okay.
to talk, both of us.
So I better
we need
stay to
fo-
my script.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I have a clicker someplace. Let's try the clicker.
Ahí está. Ahí también.
Ah, ahí está, mira.
The banyan tree.
When Angel and I began to think about our presentation today, the image of a banyan tree came up for us. A banyan is a fig that develops accessory trunks from adjacent prop roots, allowing the tree to spread outwards indefinitely. This is the Great Banyan Tree, located outside of Calcutta, India. The largest tree specimen in the world, says Guinness Book of World Records. The Great Banyan Tree is huge. They built a road around the tree. It's 300 meters. That's 3 times the length of a football field around the circumference of the tree. But the tree continues to spread. It spreads everywhere a branch touches the ground. The banyan tree is very unique. Wherever there's a large branch that touches the ground, a new tree is born. And it made us think about the church and about the church's mission over 20 centuries that is like a banyan tree.
And like a banyan tree. Chuck and I both have roots and branches in Chiapas, Mexico. Both of us grew up in Chiapas.
Viva Chiapas!
Viva, que
Viva
viva.
Chiapas!
Viva Cristo también.
También.
We both are branches, most branches and mostly roots of the RCA mission in Chiapas. And we both are, our families are immigrant, people on the move, both of us. And I want to show you 2 pictures. I used to be a cute boy. Believe me. That's the only proof that I have from my childhood. It says one of them is me, Angel, and the other person is my brother Samuel. If you know the ministry at Frontera de Gracia, he is the pastor at Frontera de Gracia. He's the director of Border of Grace Shelter as well. So we grew up in Chiapas, and we moved everywhere, and at least myself ended up in Holland, Michigan, with the Dutch brothers and sister. But also, I have another picture too. This is my brother, Carlitos. Carlitos, el pequeño Carlos, Chuck. He is the one
Far left.
The far left. So he's with his family. With his family, and it's a beautiful family. And I was, after we saw this picture, I was surprised. I said, it's very interesting. A Dutch brother with a Mexican heart, and a Mexican brother with a Dutch heart. Especially in the height, too.
Let's consider just some realities of the world we live in. This past November, the population of the earth passed 8 billion. It will pass 10 billion by the end of the century. About 2 billion, a quarter of the earth's population, consider themselves followers of Jesus in some way. That leaves 6 billion who have not experienced the love, joy, peace, hope, freedom, and life transformation that comes to the followers of Jesus. About 68% of Christianity, the branches of the tree, what happened to the banyan tree? Well, let's go. How do I go back here? Okay, let's go there and keep the banyan tree alive. There we are. About 68% of Christianity, the branches of the tree, is now in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Christianity is not a Western religion. That should not surprise us, because Christianity was not originally a Western religion. It was originally Middle Eastern, Near Asian, and North African. Followers of Jesus can now be found in every country of the world, which means that global, international, cross-cultural mission must involve primary partnering with other Christians in local mission everywhere in the world. So, Angel, tell us about one of the branches that took root and is flourishing in ministry on the Mexico-U.S. border.
Yeah. We are like a banyan tree. This branch has touched the soil of the border of Ciudad Juárez. This branch has touched the soil, and from that soil, a new life has come. A new branch has come. And this is Ciudad Juárez, Frontera de Gracia. But you need to know, Ciudad Juárez is like the crossroad of the world. It is not just, Ciudad Juárez is not just the crossroad of Latin America, but it's the crossroad from people around the world. There are people crossing there every single day, one way or another. Frontera de Gracia, or Border of Grace, our ministry is about hospitality, to show hospitality in the name of Christ. And the way we do it is we provide food, water, clothes, a place to stay a night, a safe place to be at night, a warm place. And sometimes we need to medicine. We provide medicine or doctors. And the wait, and this is the challenge, the wait is the most challenging part, because you can be in Ciudad Juárez 3 days or 3 years, depending on your case. But when people stayed in our shelter, people stay in our church, sooner or later we became acquaintances, friends, we became family. And one day, they receive a good news to cross to the other border. A lot of time we don't know if they made it. We don't know if they're happy. We don't know if finally they arrived to their family or they were deported. We don't know. But a lot of times also we know that they're doing good. and we receive messages in text, in audio, or in video. And these messages say, hey, we made it. Hey, we found a friend. They don't understand each other, but we found a friend. We found a family. We found a church. Hey, we're getting baptized this Sunday. We're getting married. So those are the messages that we receive in Frontera de Gracia. So I wonder, brother, is this the branches and the roots of a banyan tree?
The banyan tree is fascinating to us because as a picture of God's mission, God moves people, and then a new tree emerges. Angel, you and I have talked about migration
A lot.
as a vehicle of evangelization in the hands of God. The United Nations counts today, what's the number of the day today? What is it, 14th?
17.
17th, I'm back in 14th. 17th of January, UN tells us that approximately 100 million people are moving from one place to another. I can hardly get my mind around that, the size of the banyan tree. And migration has been a story of the earth for as long as we know it, but is an increasingly large opportunity and challenge for us in this century. In fact, if you look back over 20 centuries in the history of the expansion of the Christian church, during the past 20 centuries, I am convinced that you will find that migration has been the primary instrument or vehicle of God's mission in the evangelization of the earth.
Sí, hermano Chuck. Though migration appears to be like a new challenge, but it is new and it's ancient. It's an ancient too, but it's a new because it's an opportunity for God's mission. It's an opportunity for you and for me and for our church. Like it is an opportunity for us in Frontera de Gracia. We believe in Frontera de Gracia that serving another person, serving another neighborhood, is serving the world. That's how we began to serve Jesus as well. But as we become friends, as we become family, as we become part of our community, we began to make good and deeper relationship with our people. We become, has serious implication, because as we become friend, as we be deeper in our relationship, we began to create new friendship, new relationship, new partnership. And this is important, especially for a history of the RCA Global Mission. Partnership has been part of our history. Partnership that we have done here and around the world. Partnership locally and globally has been our history of the Reformed Church. New branches, new roots, new churches, new brothers and sisters in Christ. This is very close to our heart as a global mission.
Sisters and brothers, in your bag, you were given a copy of this book that Gene and I and Sally were blessed with the authors of this book. And we encourage you to look into it and read a chapter or two. It's the story of RCA Global Mission that begins in the early 1800s. we asked people who were from different parts of the world, RCA missionaries and others, who were experts for that area of the world and the RCA's mission work. And we asked, most of them had written books of 500 pages or 600 pages, some of which I wrote the forewords, and knowing that very few people will ever read the 600 pages. So we asked those same authors to write 8 to 10 pages and summarize how the RCA got started, what kinds of things they did, and what's going on now. Several of those authors told us that it was the most difficult writing they'd ever done to bring it together into 8 or 10 pages. But it's fascinating. Gene and I learned a lot. And so I hope you enjoy reading, one chapter at a time. Y Ángel, mira, está en español.
Entonces
Mira,
sí.
y hay libros, copias, traducciones en español que pueden pedir. Y aquí están para ustedes.
One of the things that I learned from this book, especially from the chapter Samuel Hoffman says that I think this year will be 100 years of the ministry of the RCA in Chiapas.
Yes.
So it's amazing.
This year
This
is
year.
the 100th anniversary
100th anniversary.
of Chiapas.
Amen. So here, as we want to leave you with some action steps. If you're wondering, okay, what can we do? We have 4, and we have at least 4 to mention. But if you want to know more, please talk to us. But one is that one of the action steps is to read 1 or 2 of these call to serve chapters with your church. Pray about it. Wonder about it. This is important. Know your history. Know where your missionary are, and what they're doing. This is important for us. It's a good way to start. Another one, which I really like, is sometimes we are looking the other side, but in our churches, sometimes it's better to start looking inside of our church. What we are doing? Where is the heart of the people? Where is the heart of my people right now? What can we do? What have been doing in the last 10 years, 20 years? Maybe there is something in there. Please visit your brothers and sisters. And that's a second one. Explore your house. Explore everywhere. Maybe you will find something in there that will inspire you and your church. The third one, and I like this one too, become informed. Some area of the world. You know what? We want to know more about, Vietnam, Bangladesh. We want to know about Jordan. We want to know more about Chiapas. What they're doing right now. Be curious with your church. Maybe that's where God wants you to go. And the last one that I wanted to mention here is, and it's a bit called to be humble as a church. As a church, sometimes we want to do our own thing. And we don't want to see the other church. We are in a competition most of the time. But to be humble is to go to your own neighborhood and say, hey, our church is here, what we are doing. Maybe that's your call as well. So those are at least 4 step action. And that maybe the last one is right now, there's a lot of missionaries that you can talk. Instead of, I love to talk person to person, but right now you have a lot of missionaries here that maybe they can answer some of your questions. We have time.
Voy a añadir una cosa.
Añádelo.
I woke up this morning with a picture in my mind. 18 months ago, I was in Villahermosa, Tabasco, at the General Assembly of the National Presbyterian Church of Mexico that has been our partner for 100 years. They count about 2 million members in Mexico with a deep desire to be more involved in global mission and a deep desire to partner with RCA Global Mission. They themselves, there's 17 presbyteries in Chiapas and 3 synods, and together they have created a mission organization, their own, supported by themselves. It's called AMICH, Asociación Misionera de Chiapas. But I was amazed at listening to the leaders from all over Mexico with a deep desire to be involved in mission. They gave me permission. They made me, although I was born there and did my profession of faith there, they gave me permission. They made me an honorary member and asked me to bring greetings to all of you. And they pray a lot for the RCA and for the church in North America. We're all part of the same banyan tree. Jose Angel, una última, we have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Una última pregunta, last question. When I preached in your church and talked to those who are attending and just asked them where they were from and where their families were, that impressed me that each one of those families is like a window or a doorway to many others in North America and in other parts of the Latin America. Is that true?
That's true. One of the phrases that I mentioned before is that, and it's true in our church, when you serve someone in your congregation, you serve in the world. So we have people from all Latin America in our congregation. And people are coming. People are connecting. And yeah, it's a blessing.
It's amazing.
It's a blessing to know them. And one of the things that I learned in our church is that I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Because Venezuelans have words that I use that they don't like me to use, especially if I'm preaching. Don't use the word pastor because it means Nicaraguans, Cubans, all they have other words in Spanish that I'm not allowed to use it. And I'm learning Spanish again. Yeah.
The Lord be with all of you.
And also with you.